The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is a diesel punk superhero movie based on the graphic novel series by writer Alan Moore and artist Kevin O'Neill. The series has developed a massive cult following over the years, however the movie's reputation lives in infamy and to this day it remains one of the biggest missed opportunities in film history. LXG is set at the end of the 19th century in Victorian England. A cast of characters are assembled to fight the threat of a sinister madman. Leading the group is the legendary explorer Alan Quartermain, played by Sean Connery. Connery was eager for the role after famously turning down roles in Harry Potter, The Matrix, and Lord of the Rings. Connery claimed that the film's production and final quality convinced him to permanently retire from filmmaking. "It was a nightmare. The experience had a great influence on me. It made me think about showbiz. I get fed up dealing with idiots." The mysterious and jaded Captain Nemo, played by Indian stage and film actor Nasiruddin Shah. Rodney Skinner, replacing the original Invisible Man due to copyright issues, played by Tony Curran. Dr. Henry Jekyll and his brutish alter ego, Mr. Hyde, played by Jason Fleming. Flem Wang, Mina Harker, former love interest of Count Dracula, played by Peter Wilson. Tom Sawyer, who was not in the LXG graphic novels, was tacked onto the cast as a studio note, as well as Dorian Gray. Beginnings of why the film didn't work start with Robinson's screenplay and the pressure he was under to simplify and Americanize it. In addition, Norrington had his own problems on set. Norrington reportedly disliked the supervision from the studio and was uncomfortable with large crews. Both Norrington and James Robinson have not worked on a live-action feature-length film as of 2021. According to an early review of the script written by Patrick Soriel, I've spoken to and interviewed Don Murphy. He's a genuine comic book fan as well as a smart businessman and filmmaker. But I have my suspicions with 20th Century Fox. All throughout the development of X-Men, I heard stories about how the studio was worried that they could be making an expensive bomb. I think that some of the same concerns for the source material for League might have factored into Robinson's script. There are some people within Fox who are more concerned with not straying too far off the beaten path, and for those people, the premise of LXG might have put fear into their heart. This takes place in an alternate universe. It's implied because of the characters, but when you borrow everything else from real-world events, it makes things confusing. A tank rolls into the Bank of England and people dressed like German soldiers steal Leonardo da Vinci's blueprints of Venice from a vault.
Oh, he's stealing!
Transition to Germany. Scientists in this factory are being rounded up. The man who broke into the bank is now kidnapping German scientists. This guy staged attacks on both countries disguised as the other. Cut to Kenya. This guy named Sanderson Reed exits a carriage and enters the building looking for the legendary explorer Alan Quartermain.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not.
Assassins come in and straight up cap Alan's friend. A gunfight ensues full of riveting choreography and great looking prop guns. And after Quartermain defeats the assassins, the plane's bombed and Alan agrees to help Britain. Not sure why they walked in and started a gunfight when they already had a bomb that was rigged to explode. After traveling to London, Alan meets the man in charge of the operation, M. Some small talk ensues, Nemo, Skinner, and Mina are introduced, and then they're told they have to recruit 2 more members for the League. Establish why they need exactly 6 members, but Nemo, Skinner, Quartermain, Mina, and Ishmael head to Dorian Gray's house in another part of London. In the car, we get some banter.
The fuck you say to me, you little—
They arrive at Dorian's house, but
Dorian.
Oh, Chuck Testa.
bad guys show up, and then they have them surrounded. Phantom enters and starts monologuing. Unknown gunman distracts the bad guys. One guy straight up yells the bad guy's secret identity.
Oopsie whoopsie! Ooh, we made a fucky wucky!
Mina shows her powers and seductively sucks off this guy's neck. We learn the agent is Tom Sawyer. Thinking of letting Tom join, but then Dorian agrees to join the team so that now they have 6 members and they're full. And then Tom Sawyer shows Quartermain his nice American gun, and Quartermain's like, okay. We hop on Nemo's cartoonishly large and impractical ship, the Nautilus, and travel to recruit the final member. They chase him around a bit, but eventually catch him and talk him into assisting them on their journey after he pulverizes a few extras and goes through a grotesque transformation.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
A bunch of character interactions on the ship, love square between Dorian, Mina, Jekyll, and Tom, father-son relationship between Alan and Sawyer, Skinner disappearing and being accused of being a spy, Nemo just being a great dude, but the other members just straight up being dicks and at times being overtly racist. We arrive in Venice during the festival. Phantom plans to destroy Venice, which is why he needed the blueprints at the beginning. So he plans to destroy Venice and then, kill the leaders to promote, chaos, and then start a world war, and then he owns all this new weaponry and technology that we've seen throughout the movie, and so he's gonna profit off the war that he created. Once they step off the ship, the bombs explode and buildings start collapsing in a domino fashion, so they come up with this plan. They blow up the building ahead of the effect in order to prevent the entire city from sinking, because it's like a domino, you know? So they jump in Nemo's car to get in position to signal the ship where to fire the rocket to blow up the building to stop the chain reaction. Not sure how Tom Sawyer knows how to drive cars when they haven't been invented. Dr. Jekyll refuses to let Hyde out because he's internally conflicted. The one time it could potentially save lives, he refuses to turn into Hyde. They try to make Jekyll into this sympathetic character, but he just comes off like creepy and weird. Dorian leaves to look for Phantom.
Bye, have a great time.
Tom Sawyer is going like 50 the entire time and smashing through so much stone.
No.
We get an underwhelming vampire transformation from Mina when you see her face for like a split second. Quartermain then actually sees the Phantom, and he leaves the car to pursue him into a graveyard. Not sure why he's running around in the heart of destruction he's created. Phantom's running from Quartermain as he's taunting him.
Why are you running?
He's speaking over some kind of intercom or something, or else he'd find him immediately. A brief struggle and Alan knocks Phantom's mask off. We learn it's M. Alan gets stabbed in the shoulder and M gets away.
Still fast as fuck,
apparently is
boy.
faster than Tyreek Hill because he always manages to just run away from people. Tom Sawyer eventually arrives at the building to signal Nemo's rocket, and he seemingly sacrifices himself in doing so. After regrouping with the team, Alan tells them about Phantom being M. Tom's okay and Mina is so relieved. The minor character Ishmael was offhandedly introduced earlier, and he's been randomly appearing in scenes throughout the movie. I wonder what purpose he was serving because they were giving him so much screen time. He's played by a karate legend named Terry O'Neill. Earlier when Dorian left to look for Phantom, he snuck back into the Nautilus and shot Ishmael and outright says he's a traitor and not Skinner. So Ishmael hobbles off the ship and reveals this information to the team.
Okay.
Dorian then flees in an escape pod, and the team tries to pursue him. On the ship, they find a pre-recorded message from M revealing why he orchestrated the Phantom ruse.
How convenient is that? Wow, how convenient is fucking that?
It was in order to extract the League's power for his personal use, which when you look at the whole movie from that perspective, it just makes things more confusing. So this guy sent someone to recruit Quartermain at the beginning, but he also sent people to assassinate him at the exact same time. Dorian planted bombs around the Nautilus and they explode, and the Nautilus begins to take in water. All hope looks lost until Dr. Jekyll speaks with Mr. Hyde and they agree to try one last heroic action. They swim down to this lever, and once it's pulled, the Nautilus regains buoyancy. While the team's recovering from the assault on the ship, the group receives a message from Skinner saying that he was on Dorian's escape pod and is in M's secret hideout. He gives them the coordinates to a factory in Mongolia.
Let's go.
They go there in the Nautilus and wait in the spot Skinner laid out to them in his message. Oh, it makes no sense. Skinner arrives, grabs Mina's ass, and then tells them about the factory, how they're forcing scientists to make weapons and super soldiers to wield in the upcoming World War, and they're holding their families hostage. I'm not sure, I don't know why the families are there. The families lived in the factories with them, and then the team decides to split up inside the factory. Sawyer goes with Quartermain, Hyde goes with Nemo and his crew, and Mina goes alone to find Dorian.
Autobots roll out.
Skinner fucks off until he randomly appears later when the story needs him. Nemo begins evacuating the scientists and their families. Sawyer and Quartermain find Moriarty's study, and they hide. And then a henchman comes in and alerts Moriarty of the intruders. Quartermain confronts Moriarty, but they're snuck up on by another henchman, and he gets away.
Watch out!
Mina starts fighting Dorian. They're just trading blows back and forth. He gives the upper hand when he believes he's stabbed her through the heart. No reason to double check. Surprise! The wall. And then
you fucking
his one weakness is just laying right there on the ground, so she picks it up, shows it to him, and he dies. Somewhere else in the factory, Hyde encounters a henchman that drinks a full gallon of his potion, and it turns him into this CGI monster.
I'll get fucked! Get absolutely fucked! Yes! Spicy meatball!
Jesus Christ. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Sawyer fights an invisible man with a knife. Nemo and Hyde fight the monster as Quartermain closes in on Moriarty.
Harder, Daddy. What? What?
The dynamite planted in the factory at some point explodes, saving Moriarty and killing the Hive Monster clone. Sawyer is then taken hostage by the invisible guy he was fighting earlier, but he never, defeated him, so he comes up afterwards, and Quartermain has Moriarty at gunpoint, right after he just swung an axe at his face. Moriarty flashes his mask, and in the reflection, Quartermain sees Sawyer with a knife to his throat. So he 180s and shoots the invisible man, but Moriarty stabs him in the back when he does that. Unlike earlier, where Sean Connery just completely brushed off being stabbed, this time it seems to have an effect on him. Moriarty jumps from the building. He can fly, or at least glide apparently. As Quartermain feels the life drain out of him, he walks Sawyer through the final shot, and he hits Moriarty just before he reaches the escape pod that's conveniently out of reach. Quartermain dies. Funeral in Kenya for Quartermain. The whole team's present, and they agree to carry on the legacy. They depart. This witch doctor grabs some soil from Quartermain's grave, and lightning strikes, and the movie ends. Sequels baited.